Hello there. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the second of our London Webfest Q&A panels for the 2021 season. I'm Saul Marin. I'm the festival director here at London Webfest. Now, today's panel features international actors from our December official selections, the month just passed. They've been performing in short films and web series ranging from comedy to drama. Some of them have huge, large casts all to contend with, and some are just intimate two-handed. Now, today's panel will be moderated by our December guest judge, the absolutely wonderful, very talented, incredibly self-deprecating Kristen Atherton. Now, Kristen has performed at the National Theatre, she's performed for the RSC, and in countless numerous shows for the BBC. She's also an award-winning voiceover artist, which is another credit from 2021 to add to her back pocket. Now, we'll bring her in just a moment, and we can speak to her live before we actually talk to our guests. Kristen, are you there?
Hello, Saul. I'm here.
Welcome to our Q&A panel. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for being our judge this past month.
Not at all. It has been an absolute honour and a complete joy. And I was saying to our actors who are going to join us shortly, because I've been absorbing their work and having such a fantastic time in this year when we've all been locked in our own homes, seeing the absolute plethora of creativity which is out there from filmmakers. Absorbing myself in their work has been such balm for the soul. It's wonderful as a performer to get to watch people work and work so proficiently and so fantastically, especially doing things that I know I struggle with, like comedy.
I've seen you perform. You're a very funny actress.
That's not the dramas.
Yeah. But it's amazing, isn't it, to see the array of talent, and this is one of the benefits of running a film festival. Just work that you've never seen before, and work that is so contrasting turns up at your front door, and you just get to consume this stuff. And especially in 2020, when content is king, it's amazing to just see how much talent there is out there that's still producing work that's still being made. It's phenomenal.
And it's inspiring. It's deeply, deeply inspiring, and I can't wait to pick their brains and find out what they have to say about their films and about their careers so far.
Well, I think that is probably the right time, in which case, to bring them in. But before we do, I think it's probably only fitting that we take a look at their work first.
Do you think we scared them?
Let's give him some credit. I know Simon. He's got a freaky side.
Oh, yeah, you would know.
Howdy, ma'am.
Giddy up.
Vraiment.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, Matt?
Je te propose une tripe de feu. Quelque chose que tu vas pouvoir porter en toi toute ta vie. Comme dans ton film préféré.
Les deux meurent à la fin.
Ben, si je peux mourir avec toi, ça va être bien correct.
I came out to my mom.
What? Yes. How did she take it?
Absolutely fine.
I knew she would. Meredith is the best.
It wasn't about her. I wasn't ready to be a different person.
Karen, something was very wrong last time. I need my coffee, and I don't know how to use your fancy artisanal coffee machine.
It's a Keurig. It's self-explanatory. I've even shown you how to use it before.
Sorry, Karen, that I can't remember everything you tell me. You know I have a lot of balls on the ground right now. I mean, what with everything happening at the pool, and not to mention our little mix-up in the bedroom.
Larry, I told you, it's okay.
The house was once my home. My actions within those walls cost me everything.
Sarah?
Huh?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm warm in milk.
So, a very, very warm good evening if you're in the UK or if you're in the US or indeed anywhere else in the world, whatever time of day it is. I don't know about you. If you were anything like me, I hope that has whetted your appetite, because the actors that we have with us this evening have done incredible work across a whole range of genres, short films, TV pilots, and I would like to hear them say a little bit, first of all, about themselves and about the films and TV pilots that we saw a little snippet of just then. So we'll start at the top of my screen. Can I hear from Rich? Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me, everybody. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
The film is called Hypocrite. Is a director named Eddie Lingo Jr. The film is basically about one man's transgressions against his family, and his story and his quest to try to right those wrongs that he did. He encounters some issues and some pushback. Every night he travels there to go look at the house that is no longer his house, but that he lived in with his previous wife and child. So he just goes back and just stands there every night. And then one night he sees this young lady getting abused, and this whole thing transpires because of that.
Fantastic. And next to Hayden, please.
Hi. So my project is called The Pool. It's a web series. It's a mockumentary about a group of community pool lifeguards. Antics, egos clashing, absurdity all ensues. And I play Larry, who is the pool manager of this group. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of the series.
Fantastic. And Amber.
Hey, so our film or pilot is about two couples who grew up in a very conventional Christian community, and they start taking liberties within their relationships. And, it's called Also With You. And I don't know if anybody grew up relatively religious in like Christian or Catholic churches, but usually the pastor or the deacon will say, "Peace be with you" at the end of a prayer, and everybody repeats, "Also with you." Yes, there you go. But as you find out, as it, progresses, it takes on a little double meaning. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And Sasha, please.
The web series that I was on was called Just the Two of Us. It's about two best friends that decide to go on a road trip. And it's basically just about two best friends trying to figure things out as life goes. They're living. They're in situations that they're not necessarily happy in, and they find themselves on a road trip together. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That was nicely without spoilers, because it's so mysterious.
Okay.
Anna, please.
Hi.
Would you put Anna Luisa?
Anna Luisa. Oh, whatever.
Anna Luisa.
Yes. First of all, thanks for having me here. It's an honor.
No, thank you.
Our film is it was directed by Bob Vaughn, and we shot it here in my apartment. And I shot it with my husband. He's my husband in the movie. The movie is about postpartum psychosis. It's a very serious topic, and I had to learn a lot prior to shoot and to try to find all emotions involved. And I learned that can be felt by both men and women. It's not necessarily just the mom side of it. And yeah, it was really deep. And we're getting a lot of great feedback from people who suffer of this disease. So it's been a blast to be able to do it.
That's fantastic. And then last but by no means least, Heidi.
Hi, I'm Heidi. I'm a writer and producer, and I play Molly in the web series Avocado Toast, the series. It's a heavily female dramedy because women are funny, but they also feel things. And it's about the female friendship, the mother-daughter relationship, and bisexuality.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for those roundups. As you can probably tell, there is the complete gamut among these fantastic actors, from very, very intense, almost like thriller drama, straight through, psychological realism, a lot of very on the edge emotions, and then right through to almost screwball comedy. So I suppose I'm quite curious about everyone's background. Are you all, I suppose, what you would say, trained performers? Do you come from somewhere completely different? Have any of you helped to devise these performances? Or is this the first acting experience for some of you? And I'll throw the floor open, whoever wants to go first and feels brave.
Well, I got experience because I've been acting for the past maybe 12 years. And this web series was not my first project, but did some training, not in a theater school or anything like that. But I actually started as an extra, and then started auditioning, and then when I got my first role, I did some training at that point. So I got referred to an actress that was doing training lessons. So that's how I started.
Fantastic. And so for this project, how did you become involved? Was it a traditional audition? Did you already know the director?
Yeah, it was a traditional audition, and then we clicked right away. It's just like it sounds cliche, but with that team, it was magical. It was really I did some other projects with them too after that, so it was really a good fit, if I can put it that way. So
yeah, it's a fantastic ensemble. The whole package is absolutely wonderful for anyone who is lucky enough to see it. Anyone else feeling brave?
Well, this will mean more to you, Kristen, than maybe the rest of you, but I am a theater girl trained at the Bristol Old Vic in England.
Yeah.
There's 2 Avocado Toast fans who freaked out that you were hosting this because they saw you in Julius Caesar and like 3 other plays, and they're your biggest fan girls. They're 2 best friends. They're so cute. But yeah, theater girl. And then, on the off chance, I would do a commercial here or there, or like a lot of American TV shows shoot in Toronto and Canada. So I do like 1 or 2 days, but never really got an opportunity to sink my teeth into something. And eventually I was like, well, shit, I'm just going to have to write it for myself and write a story that I'm passionate about, that I know I can be the best at. So that happened. But yeah, I had a bunch of acting experience before, but this is my first time producing something. And I have caught the producing bug so hard. I love budgets. I love all the stuff that actors don't normally like. So it's been a big awakening for me of like, well, there are many women who look like me, who can act like me, but maybe my niche is actually in producing, not acting. So this project has been a really massive learning curve and gift. Yeah.
I'm in awe that you are wearing that many hats, in addition to the wonderful one you are wearing. That is fantastic. Wow. Anybody else like share their background?
I can share that. I consider myself new in acting. I've been acting for 6 years. But my background is in dance. I'm a professional ballerina.
Wow.
That's the reason why I came to America in the first place. And in here, I started to take acting classes because my husband also loved. He was acting back in Brazil, but he started acting here as well. And by helping him with his sides and classes and stuff, I find my love for it. And this was the second project that we did in this. In the past year, in the pandemic situation, we're just shooting a web series with the same crew, with the same director and the sound guy and my husband and myself, with people in Brazil. I'm from Brazil. I don't know if I said that. So we were shooting remotely, and then the director wrote this, and it was a comedic web series. So we shot for over maybe 2 months. And then he came with this new script the last day of the shooting. He came with the script like, I wrote something for you guys. maybe take a look, see if you like to do it. And we read it, we loved it. It's something different than what we've been doing for the past 2 months. And that's how it was.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really fascinating because Milk is it's almost dialogue free, and the precision of the physicality involved and everything you do, you communicate almost silently. I don't want to say more than that. Again, anyone who's going to go on to watch it, but that's so fascinating that you have this dance background because it really tells in the movie. It's beautiful. Okay. Amber, Rich, or Hayden, one of you like to go next?
So I went to, a PWI institution, got my BFA in acting, and it was a pretty much traditional kind of way that I got attached to this project. I auditioned, submitted, auditioned, and it was over like a self-tape, and then we had a Skype meeting with the producers and the director and the writers, everybody, because they were down in Virginia doing a show. And funny enough, when I got there, I was really nervous. I was like, everybody's been down in Virginia doing this show here with this production company. Like, I'm going to be the oddball out. And it turned out that we had a lot of mutual friends because they were actually from New York, where I'm from. So that was kind of nice and really relaxing. And it's very comedic. I usually do a lot more drama heavy, whether in TV or film. Like, it's always just been drama heavy. And I did some improv at the Groundlings and Improvolution. Cool. And I was like, I'm not really a comedy girl. Like, I have this improv training, but I don't use it. So it's just not my thing. But they were so just like open and welcoming, and they're hilarious, and they left a lot of room for play. And as the days got along and I got more comfortable, it was fun to kind of flex that muscle a little bit more.
That's great. So did that make it into the finished product? Because it feels very comfortable. You all feel very,
There's some points where it's just like, you can tell it's just us having fun. And honestly, Ken and Sophie, who wrote it, and they're also starring in it as well, just really led it all, like as you saw them have more fun and as you saw them be more open with the writing that they have and just kind of going off the cuff, it really allowed everybody else to kind of step up and just take over your character and see what it would be like. And we're all living down there in Virginia for a little bit. So we really got to know each other for really long days on set. So it really became comfortable. It was fun.
That was amazing. Fantastic. And one of you two gentlemen feeling less shy.
I'll jump in. Let's see. I really started my acting career when I was a kid. My brother and I would choreograph our own lightsaber scenes and film them. So that's what it all started. And we would also, turn the prequels on mute and, dub them with our own voiceovers, which was fun. But no, I really got into it after college, and since college, I've been in acting classes every week, pretty much, maybe a month or two off here and there. As far as the pool goes, so I created the pool, and my buddy who I met in acting class, Tony Vinci, who's also plays Noah in the series, him and I now write it together. And so I cast myself as Larry, and did not have to audition, which was nice.
Been auditioning yourself for the past however many years.
Exactly.
Amazing. And Rich?
I have a background. My background is actually in music. Like Amber, I'm also from New York. I'm from Brooklyn. I was a professional. I was signed to a label and a publishing company as an R&B singer for a long time. When it came to acting, I've been acting since 2012, and I never trained. I'm not proud of that, or not proud of it. It's just like, it just is what it is. I never trained, but I've done quite a bit of professional things. I've shot films in Italy and Nigeria. And I'm like the lead in a couple of web series, one that got picked up by a streaming service. So acting I've found my second love. I'm a singer by heart. I went to performing arts high school for singing, for music. But acting is just kind of taking my life over 100%. I'm really into drama. I really like drama and I really like action. So the fact that the director Eddie Lingle Jr. Asked me to do this, I did audition for it, but the director reached out to me directly and asked me if I would be interested. And then I read for the part of the lead character. I loved what I read. I thought it was very different from some of the things that had been sent to me. I was happy it wasn't like a kind of like a typecast situation. There's a lot of that. A lot of that happens. So I was it was very different, and I loved the idea, and I just gave it the best that I could, and now I'm here.
That's fantastic. It blows my mind that you came to acting so recently because you're so natural.
Oh, thank you.
Hypocrite. It is gorgeous. It's interesting what you said before because there's a fantastic fight sequence.
Yeah.
I did wonder. But, yeah.
The director, he basically, we kind of choreographed it. So there's like in the film, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I have a busted lip in the film. That's a real busted lip. It's not a fake busted lip. We went through one of the sequences. One of the sequences where I'm supposed to like duck or something or move, and I didn't move. So I got a real busted lip. So for the busted lip you see in the film is real. You know, we dressed it up to make it, you know.
But, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. Okay, so I'm guessing, as you know, you're all very experienced. Does anyone have any thoughts about short films, web series in general? You're probably working with a smaller budget, a smaller crew. You're probably not working with quite as much time. Is there anybody who has any big positives to say about that? So actually something that you take away and go, you know what, this is better than working on something like a long form feature film or a really, really long running TV series where you've got a big crew and it's really established and you're sort of coming into that and having to hit the ground running. Like, any big positives that anyone would like to posit?
I mean, it's such a double-edged sword because when you're like, I'm just flashing back to our DOP and our director who just had to go to the storage unit and get the equipment in the morning and bring it to set before they even started their day. And I was right there with them every step of the way, even though I was a lead in the show because I'm a producer on it. We were all just extra tired, but I think you get to this point where you're so loopy and you're so all on the same team and you're all working way harder than you're getting paid, like way more than you're actually getting paid, that you do have this utter sense of camaraderie and bonding that is unlike anything I've ever experienced from just walking on a set and getting paid a bunch of money for one day of my life to never remember anyone ever again, because I've never had that experience of a long time on set. But this is also my first time behind the scenes working on something. So you see how much work goes into it and how, although I think actors are phenomenal, like we are the very skilled cherry on top of this massive engine. Yeah.
I agree with that so hard. Every set I go on to, I always look at the crew and think, they've been up 5 hours longer than me. For all I'm sat in makeup going, it's so early. It's not early. We're like the last people on set. So yeah. And do you feel like it's made you more tolerant? I'm sure you were very lovely anyway, but you know, that it's giving you that.
Definitely. Now that I know like how things actually work, I am so just in awe of any crew member. Like they are the heroes of film and TV. It can't happen without the actors for sure. But I approached it with such an actor-centered experience where I was so wrapped up in what we were doing that I didn't know about all of that. But I think the takeaway is that sense of closeness and tight-knit family that you all become when you're working on something that's indie or lower budget.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, seconding off of that, I felt like that's probably the biggest difference. I've worked on like network TV shows before where it's like I'm walking in and I'm here to do a job and that's it. And, you know, you're in and you're out and you got to be super professional. But with smaller sets like this, you really get to know everybody on the set. Like everybody is super important. And, you know, thankfully, all I had to do was be an actor. Like everybody else had like 3 or 4 jobs that they had to pick up, you know, because it is such a smaller crew. But like I left that set knowing everybody and really vibing with people, which is nice. I feel like you don't get that all the time.
If I can piggyback off what Amber said, I was literally, as soon as you asked the question, I was thinking, Kristen, when you asked it, that it's the amount of hats that the crew actually has to wear. Like, it's not, depending on how big or how small the set or the project actually is, the actors actually do some, because I definitely have held some boom mics. I've definitely like make sure I was behind some DPs and making sure they don't trip over any stairs while they get in the shot for somebody else. So the amount of hats that you have to wear, especially when you're starting out and the projects are really small, or when you're doing your own project, or if you just don't have a certain amount of budget for this specific project you're doing, the amount of hats that people are able to wear, the job that some of these people can do are just kind of amazing. And the things that people get done is actually like really, really noteworthy.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. The first set I ever went on, because I had a theatre background, I was used to picking up my own props, setting my own costumes to be helpful. And I'd taken a drink and I tried to refill my own drink, and continuity ran right over and went, don't do that. And they took out their ruler. And of course, you know, on a big set, you've got someone to do that for you. But, you know, I guess anyone who wants to be helpful actually is something, you know, you can kind of indulge in a little bit. Yeah. I'll hold a boom mic until everyone sees how weak the arms are. But yeah, I feel, Hayden, did you have something to say, or was that?
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say for me, yeah, like I started creating my own stuff a couple of years ago, and actually one of my favorite quotes, I saw an interview with Bradley Cooper, and like they asked him like any advice to the actor, and he's like, surround yourself by like-minded people, and you know, don't wait, go tell your story. And that really sat with me. So for the pool, like our team has been a team we've been building, and you know, we're all really good friends. So you know, when we shoot this thing, it's a pretty tight group already, and all the actors are actors from my class, because I get to see them go up week in you know, every week, put up this incredible work, and then I'd be like, so can I convince you to to jump in this series? And so we already have this, you know, intense camaraderie. So every day after shooting, my favorite part was afterwards, we'd all go out for a drink and sit there and just talk about the day, which was a blast, which I don't, you know, you're not going to necessarily get if you just, you know, you come in as a co-star or guest star on a big show and then you leave and that's kind of it, you know?
Yeah. That segues beautifully, actually. And so we just had a question from a member of the public. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given in terms of filmmaking? I suppose, I mean, for those of you who have had a hand in making the film, but for the actors as well, has anyone ever, like a director, an older actor, a younger actor, your mother, you know, what is the best piece of advice that you kind of carry around with you, you know, as a performer on set, and then for those who have the other hats for making your films?
For me as an actress, that stick with me is be in the moment, be present. Whatever else you're dealing with before or after it's another thing, but as soon as the camera is rolling, is your scene, and you have to be there 100%, because it shows when you're not. The camera is so close that, I mean, like as a dancer, some days I'm off on my leg, and you know, I'm not really, you know, and maybe because of the distance they can see that, and I still can make a good performance. But the camera is right here, and they know when you're lying and when you're really feeling, and you can't lie a feeling, right? Whatever it is, you have to bring to feel that whatever you're feeling, that's real. So be in the moment 100%.
I think for the filmmaking side, something that I had to learn by trial and error, and then someone brought up in a different film festival panel I was doing, was especially for women creators, writers, showrunners, don't be afraid to say no. It's so scary sometimes, but You know, there were a couple times where we were pitching the show to find partners, and it was a great room to be in. And if they had said yes, it would have meant a lot of things for the show, but they wanted us to change creative aspects of it that we're gonna ruin it, in my opinion. You know, like they wanted us to pick the baby boomer storyline or the millennial storyline and cut the baby boomers. But it was very important to me to create representation for women older than 50 who have sex lives, who are beautiful, who, you know, and that just wasn't something that we were willing to give up. So we said we didn't want to, even though it meant finding a different partner. But you have to what Hayden said, you know, you have to keep trying to find the like-minded people to tell your story. So don't be afraid to say no if it's not feeling right.
Yeah, that's it's so inspiring to hear that, because I feel like Avocado Toast is there's so much to it, actually, and that's what makes it wonderful and rich and fantastic. And it clearly has an enormous heart in it, and it's literally like someone saying, can you just take off that little piece of your heart? It's like, because then it's not a thing anymore. And it's a shame that a lot of people with the money and with the schedules kind of don't realize that, but that is very, very inspiring. Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah, and you read stories about it where they sign on to one production company and they change the show into something that it was never meant to be, and then they get the rights back. But yeah.
Oh, and anybody else? Or I could flip it on its head as well and say, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
I don't think I've ever been given any what I would call bad advice. I think that information that wasn't already in your mind is just new information. And like there's something called like belief, and then there's no. So if somebody tells you something and they say, hey, this is what it is, and you say, okay, I believe you. And then you find out the information. Now you know the information. You can never unknow it. So it's just like putting things in your mind as an actor, as a creator, as a director, as a producer. All of these things just go into like kind of like the memory bank. Go into your Rolodex of things and ideas that you can do. And you decide whether it's a good idea to pull it out on Project A or Project C or Project D, or when it would be applicable for a situation like that. So I think there's no bad advice.
Yeah.
Well, to answer the good advice, kind of comes from, I also come from a heavy theater background. So this was something I was told in theater that I've carried over also into film, and just making my own stuff mostly again in theater. Whatever you think it's going to be is not how it's going to be. And that goes to say it's hugely collaborative. And that's the kind of work I prefer to do anyways. Like I want to be on a set where I feel like my voice matters and what I bring to the table can actually be picked up sometimes. And what somebody offers might change something around. And you think you're starting off with one project, and then by the time you have all these great minds, like-minded people, like Hayden says, start, bringing these little jewels to the set and to the project, and then all of a sudden it's turned into something completely different. And, especially in comedy where you can use improv, like, of course that's going to happen, but I've definitely seen that come to fruition in other pieces that may be a little bit more stricter when it comes to, the page. But just being really open to collaboration and to where the project takes you.
Yeah.
I piggyback off that. I'm with you 100% about the collaboration. I think that everybody, you just show up, check your ego at the door, and just be open to collaborate with everyone. And I think if you understand that from a filmmaking perspective, then it's going to go so much better.
Yeah. Okay. So sort of coming, not that we want to dwell on the negatives. We talked a lot about the positives of short form filmmaking. What are the challenges? Let's phrase it like that, rather than going, what are the drawbacks? What are the things that maybe, require more energy than when you're working on something with a lot of people around you, or where maybe you have longer to warm an audience into a character or warm them into a storyline? What kind of tools do you have to maybe draw on that you wouldn't have to in a bigger project?
Well, I think that well, and then maybe this is more from the like writing side of it, but trying to build these relationships between these characters in 6 to 8 minutes rather than like a 30-minute television episode. You try to build these relationships quickly and still make them come to fruition, but and then at the same time you're like, well, maybe some storylines I'll have to cut because I just don't have the time. I got to focus on this one storyline. Because I personally, with the pool, there are some other relationships that on this past season I'd love to explore more of, but we just didn't have the time in those shorter episodes to jump into some other relationships.
Yeah, I think am I the only person from Ontario? I think I am, right? Yeah, in Canada.
Yeah. I'm from Quebec, but
Quebec. Yeah, there's not the same. So our acting union sucks. Just gonna say it. It's called ACTRA, and I think it's different in Quebec, right? It's
a little bit. Yeah.
So the thing that sucks is you cannot. We had to be an ACTRA set with a tiny budget, and our union is very strong, and we can only shoot for 8 hours a day. The actors are only allowed to be used for 8 hours a day, and there's no like, we're going to do an icky thing. We need more time for the scene. Like, we didn't get it. There's none of that. Like, you're on such a tight schedule, and it is really hard. It's really hard. That's the biggest challenge, I think, for Ontario. Like how long were your guys' shoot days? Were you able to just shoot if something went wrong and like get a bunch of stuff in one day? Like Hayden's laughing. How long were your shoot days?
Well, we had some long ones.
We don't get to do that. We don't get that fun. It's so lame.
For us two specifically, we were fighting honestly the sun more than anything because we were shooting outdoors and everything was based off the sunlight, and then we got into what is it, daylight saving time, right? Where you lose an hour, and then we're like, oh crap, we're gonna lose another hour of sunlight. And so I was just laughing because I was like, we had some time constraints as well, but ours were due to the sun.
Okay. I suppose does anyone have any other thoughts on those, or shall I move on?
Well,
okay, I suppose. Just
I'll just say one thing.
Yes, please.
For me, I've always felt like on web series or just smaller projects in general, I feel like in a weird way there's just more room for freedom as an actor. I just feel like I don't know. For my own experience, I feel like there's just room to discuss more with the director. Let's say in the morning before shooting, we would just like have a discussion while just eating breakfast and just figure things out right before shooting. But obviously, when we're shooting, it's the budgets are smaller. There's a lot more going on, so we have to we have to just like keep things tight. But I just feel like there's just more room for creativity on smaller projects. I don't know. I can't put specific words on it why, but it's just a feel. It's just talking for my own experience on smaller projects.
Yeah. Is there a feeling ever for anyone? Because I certainly feel this way on big budget things, that you are spending, time is money. You must get it right away. Is there any more room for that on a short form web series or pilot because there's a smaller setup? Or does it feel the same because you're aware of the people's money that you're sort of spending because they're literally right there? Like there's the director and producer or in some cases they are literally right here. I'm going, this is my own money that I'm wasting in that take that didn't work. Is there any comparison, or do you feel a bit less connected to that on a big project? I don't know. It's curious.
I feel more connected to it on a smaller project. Because like I said, you took the words kind of right out of my mouth. What I was thinking is that the director really is right there. Like it literally is. I feel pressure in the bigger setting. You're gonna feel more pressure because the stakes are bigger. Everything is, there's a lot more people watching. Everything is there. In my experience with the film that I was in, what we're talking about here, Hypocrite. The director, sometimes in a short film, there's so much more. It's so much more intimate sometimes, and you can actually have a great relationship with the director. And hey, can I get another take here? Can I watch that playback? Can I didn't really like the way I said that line. Can I say this a different way? Can I try it a different way? And usually, they're willing to give you a second, third, even fourth shot at something if you really feel like you can bring something different to it. So it's to each his own. Sometimes, even on a bigger set, I've been on like some bigger sets to where I've been given 2, 3, 4 times. Not that it was needed, but just that I felt like I can deliver, a better performance. So I think it's to each his own. But I generally, definitely on a smaller set, a short film, web series kind of based thing, there's a lot more freedom, in my opinion, to like kind of do things again, to give it a second shot. It's a lot more intimate.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off of that, it's definitely intimate. I've felt like most of the experiences I've had a really close relationship to the director where, I would be able to see my take and then I'd be like, okay, I know what I have to do. You know what I mean? And that kind of moves things forward a little bit more. And then talking about this show also with you in particular, our director, Ellie, was just always so excited. Like when we had a good take or if she had something she wanted to show us, like she would show us, and I feel like on bigger sets, you don't really get that. They don't always show you takes, and that excitement isn't always shown the same way. And then when you're sitting there, especially if it's a bigger production, and you see the camera and you see all the people running around and it's like, it feels expensive. And you're like, I gotta get it done. Like if I don't get it, I'm just funneling thousands of dollars out. But somehow on smaller sets, it just feels more intimate. And yes, it's their money, but the way they're investing their money in you and in the project just feels so much more personable and easier to give them what they want, because it's easier to understand what they want because it's smaller and more intimate.
Okay, I think we've got a pretty even split here between those of you who worked on very intense dramas or thrillers or something that I don't know was sort of like a very slow boil. And then those of you working in comedy, and it's not that there aren't, emotional stakes or comedy in the reverse. Are you all in the films that are featured in this festival working in your preferred genres? Or are there any of you doing the comedy who are kind of, I remember you saying earlier, Amber, you were like, I can't do comedy. But, I guess that applies for Hayden and Heidi as well. Like, are you more comfortable in comedy? Would you kind of like to be doing more drama? Or for Rich, Sasha, and Ana Luisa, would you like to be doing more comedy, or do you normally do more comedy?
You
go.
Okay. I'm definitely in the Hypocrite film. It's a drama. I'm absolutely in my preferred genre. Like I love dramatics. I love the Michael Shannons and the Leonardo DiCaprios of the world, and I'm just such a big fan of drama. So I'm in my. I'm not in nothing against comedy. I love to laugh, but I don't think that that's my forte as an actor. So I'm definitely in my preferred genre with drama.
Okay.
I'm gonna sound really cheesy, but I like both. I love both. I've done both, and it's really, oh my God, it just depends on the project, from project to project.
Yeah.
But I really love, what I love most about it is not because it was a drama, but because of it was a really serious thing that I think was the most serious thing I've done, like that I portrayed, like real deal thing, because I think I got that afterwards, hearing the feedback of people who actually suffer from that. I'm like, wow, I'm really responsible to send this message. And I felt like for the first time I was really talking to people. Like, I don't know, it was the first experience that I had. You know, I felt like I was a real person. Like, it was strange, but yeah. But I love comedy, and I guess because of my accent, I do a lot of comedy because it's already funny, just the way I talk. I don't know. But it's different, but I love it both, and I love to watch both.
Yeah.
Well,
great.
yeah, I like dramedy is where comedy scares me, I'll be honest. Dramedy is where I live as a creator and a performer because I just think life does this. And I think creatively, if you want to create a story that packs a punch and that gets people thinking, you have to find a way to find the lightness in those moments, or the dark's not worth as much. You have to find that range. So yeah, that's just the way this story came out. But I think I like comedy. Oh no, dramedy, drama. Comedy scares me, but I should do some improv classes.
That's I mean, like, that's so, it's born through in Avocado Toast, because both to single scenes out, the scene with your mother after the welding, again, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, and then and the final scene with your best friend in bed, like I almost teared up, and I wasn't expecting to tear up with your best friend, because it was so honest, and I'd been smiling so hard. So it's clear that is absolutely in your soul. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amber, you were saying comedy was not what you're expecting to be.
Yeah, I feel like Heidi articulated it really well, where it's like comedy scares me. I like dramedy and I like drama. Also with Rich, I love action. I do a lot of, combat work. I also box. Like I would love to be like a superhero as well as a super villain at some point in my career. So just putting that out into the universe. But I love a good like black comedy and just, comedy scares me, and also with you is very like heightened, so I was definitely stepping out of my comfort zone, and there's a first time for everything. I was here for it.
That's really, I wanted to ask you specifically, Amber, as well, because there's a lot of intimate scenes in your series, and how I'm guessing, because you've talked a lot about a very supportive, implicit atmosphere on set. Like, I'm guessing that was very present in those scenes. Did it ever feel awkward? I mean, just as a human, nothing to do with the atmosphere that was created. Or did it feel completely comfortable and completely, we're doing a sex scene now?
I knew these people for a week before we got to, the intimate scenes, and we waited to film it on the last day. But the first day, when I had my producers call back, we talked about it. The first day I got there in Virginia, we talked about it. Our director, Ellie, sent us a list of what she's thinking, what the shots would look like. And, we had a list of funny intimate parts, and then a little bit more serious intimate parts and things like that, and we can go through and cross anything out that we felt we were uncomfortable with, and it was no questions asked. And then once we got there, I feel like after 5 days and I really knew them, I was shocked how comfortable I actually felt. I thought I was going to be a lot more nervous, but we were definitely laughing through a lot of the things. We probably should have been a little bit more serious. And they were, even through the end of it, they were like, okay, so how do you feel? Like they would show us and be like, does this seem okay for you? Are you comfortable with this? And nothing made the show that we felt uncomfortable with at any point. So they were very open with it. And I feel like that's another thing that's a big benefit of being on a smaller, more intimate set, is you have a say over the image you're putting out there. Whereas I've had friends have to do sex scenes on TV, and it's just they're like, I filmed it. Let's see what the editor keeps in. And you wait until it premieres and you find out. And it was no surprises. So that was really nice.
Yeah. I had a friend who lost out on Game of Thrones because she refused to do the nudity, which wasn't asked of her pre-audition. It was asked in audition, and it was just like, nope, no, you got to be comfortable with it. You get no say. Is this a thing in the US or Canada? Because I know it's a thing in the UK that we are starting to employ intimacy coordinators on films. So it's like a fight director. It's their specific job to make sure that everyone is comfortable and that all intimacy is choreographed, so no one has a chance to slip a hand where it, shouldn't be, and so that everyone, especially, maybe slightly more vulnerable performers, are as comfortable as possible. Is this a drive over with you guys as well?
It is in Ontario, yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming a bigger thing here in America as well. In our show, we didn't have any actual nudity, but it was a lot of suggestive work. But Ellie definitely took a lot of cues from intimacy directors and whatnot. We didn't have one on our set, but that is definitely something that's big nowadays, whether in audition through to the set, which is awesome. We love that. We champion that. More of that.
Yeah. I suppose the elephant in the room this year has been the C word. How has surviving as a performer been for each of you? What have been the challenges? What have been the support networks? Like, have you found, either the industry to be supportive or to not? Have you found fellow actors to be supportive? Like, have you found groups where you've kept yourselves kind of limber as performers? And of course, I know that all of you will have had different forms of lockdown and different forms of the industry having been shut down. So yeah, if anyone wants to tell us how your lockdown has been.
Mine has been it's been rough.
Yeah.
I'm in Georgia. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Brooklyn, but I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for the past 3 years. It's been rough. Auditions have slowed down. Like, at some point they slowed down to like a halt, like completely, like there was like nothing happening like at all. That was rough. Same thing with music. So on both sides of the coin, music and film, it was like a good 4 or 5 months there where there was like nothing happened, like nothing at all. And then when things started to come through, you don't book one thing or a second thing or a third thing. You start it starts to become nerve-wracking for you after a while. So it was rough. And of course, as a performer, you're a social butterfly. You want to be around people. You want to, spend time with people. You want to enjoy the energy, interchange energy. It's just you can't now, or you got to wear a mask. And how can I see somebody smile? How can I get that exchange of energy from this person if I don't even know what they look like? All these things became a thing. It was difficult at times, but with family there, you do the best you can. But performing has been it's been affected. It's it's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
I've had a strange experience of it because as an actor, things halted, but as a producer, people are still giving people money to make content because content's booming. So we launched Avocado Toast season 1 in May during lockdown, and then we had money to market it, and then we wrote season 2, and we got greenlit. So we're, it's just we haven't stopped. And I've just been developing other shows that we've gotten funded, and I don't know when the hell we're ever going to be able to shoot anything, but I haven't had any lulls. I haven't had the thing that all of my friends have been complaining about where they've been bored and don't know what to do. It's like, and that's been a great reminder to me personally as an actor. My mental health doesn't do well when I have no agency and I have no power and I'm just waiting by the phone for someone to tell me that I'm worthy. I will be an actor who creates my own work for my whole life because I have to. And then also, Sasha and we have Daddy Trudeau, so Canadians are taken care of pretty well.
Not over here.
No, our Prime Minister. I call him Daddy Trudeau, but yeah.
We call ours that idiot in a wig.
Yes. A lot of people didn't have very good world leaders for the last little while. Hopefully our American friends are headed to some new journeys.
Let's see what happens. We're hopeful, but
yeah, it's hard.
We don't have to get into all of that, but
we can do politics if we want, but we have 3 minutes left. I was gonna just to end on so that we don't end on COVID. I suppose coming off the advice question is, if there is anybody watching, especially young actors, or not even young actors, but actors who maybe want to either create their own content or who would like to make the step into film, what advice would you give them?
I would. I'd say, well, from an acting perspective, when I started acting, there's people saying, "Oh, well, you got to be talented and all this stuff." I don't believe that. I think anyone can be an actor if you want to. You just have to put in the work. You have to go, do your homework. You gotta, take classes, learn the craft. It's just like anything else. But I think it gets built into this like magical thing. And so my take is that and then from a filmmaking perspective, it's the same thing. Like when I started creating content, I didn't know anything about anything other than from the acting side. And, your first thing you make might be really bad. A lot of things you might be bad, but you just keep learning and you put the work in. So my advice would just say is just put the work in,
Yeah.
I'd say that at a certain point, I agree with Hayden to put the work in, and at a certain point, when it comes the time to really perfect your craft, I'd say that there's a lot of internal stuff that you have to go through. I'd say it's just hard to put words. It's just you're gonna question yourself a lot. It's not gonna always work out the way you want. There's a lot of people are gonna give you feedback, but then again, you obviously want to take the good, but then you want to accept the bad but turn the bad into a positive. And there's a lot of self-analyzing over time, I'd say, and then you kind of just go through the process and you get there. But I just say not to give up and just stay true to yourself, and things will just I think that you're going to figure out as you go, through the process, I'd say.
To piggyback on Sasha, if you could wake up in the morning and you can think of nothing else but being an actor, if you go to sleep and you can think of nothing else but being an actor, and you watch a movie and you see a scene and some actor kills it and you're like, oh my God, I would love to be with that type of energy. You're supposed to be an actor. It might not look the way you want it to look in the beginning. The path might not be a complete upshot trajectory, but if that's all you can see, then put the work in and you will reach that.
Yeah.
That's lovely. I mean, like, I don't want to pressurize anyone. I'd love to hear from everybody.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately here to ruin the party. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I think that was probably the best place to stop it, though. That was some genuinely inspiring things to be said. I think in whatever kind of section of the business you're in, be it producer, director, actor, just keep going with a vision. Just keep going with a belief that actually you have a story to tell. You have a performance you want to give, and it may not be the first thing you do. But this has been amazing. Yesterday I was doing Kristen's job, and today I just got to sit back and actually enjoy what you're all saying. It's been the most phenomenal panel. Thank you so much for taking part.
Thanks.
I hope you all enjoyed your time here. Kristen, you're amazing. As always, you're amazing. And it's nice to know that you have some fangirls out there as well. I saw the little kind of blush, the British blush just come across your face. You're like,
oh, God.
You couldn't take the compliment. You're like, oh, no. You became Hugh Grant for a second. Like, oh, no, terribly. Sorry, couldn't.
Yeah, when you said you were self-deprecating, I was like, I'm going to have to say it now. I have to.
Yeah, Kristen is, I'm going to say it just live here, she's a phenomenal talent, but she cannot take a compliment. Which I think is just testament to how great she is. I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this. All of you, Kristen included, you've been, both of us have watched your work and been blown away. There's a reason you're all here, is because, you talk about a rise to skill and a rise to talent. You're obviously already there because you're doing the circuit of the festivals. You're you're all an amazing work, and you've all produced stuff that is, or been a part of stuff that is just fantastic. I think for everybody at home, now you've got to know everybody. Now you've got to get to know them a little bit better and see what they're like. I think it's probably best if we play a clip from their show again. If all of you want to stick around, I'll talk to you briefly after we're done. But just thank you, Happy New Year, and it's wonderful to see you all.
Do you think we scared them?
Let's give him some credit. I know Simon. He's got a freaky side.
Oh, yeah, you would know.
Howdy, ma'am.
Giddy up.
Vraiment.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, Matt?
Je te propose une trip de feu. Quelque chose que tu vas te faire porter en toi toute ta vie. Comme dans ton film préféré.
Les deux meurent à la fin.
Ben, si je peux mourir avec toi, ça va être bien correct.
I came out to my mom.
What? Yes. How did she take it?
Absolutely fine.
I knew she would. Meredith is the best.
It wasn't about her. I wasn't ready to be a different person.
Karen, something was very wrong last time. I needed my coffee, and I don't know how to use your fancy artisanal coffee machine.
It's a Keurig. It's self-explanatory. I've even shown you how to use it before.
Sorry, Karen, that I can't remember everything you tell me. You know I have a lot of balls on the ground right now. I mean, what with everything happening at the pool, and not to mention a little mix-up in the bedroom. I mean,
Larry, I told you, it's okay.
The house was once my home. My actions within those walls cost me everything.
Sarah?
Huh?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm warming milk.
Thank you all so much for joining us on our second Q&A of international actors for the 2021 season. I think you all agree there's nothing better than, if you're a filmmaker, if you're an actor, if you're a producer, just hearing firsthand how people make the content that's been created. Don't forget that if you've joined us late, you can watch the stream again on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you're a filmmaker yourself, then please get to us on filmfreeaway.com/London Webfest, and you can submit yourselves and your films there. Thank you so much for joining us. Every month we'll have another live Q&A from directors to performers to sound designers and to music and dance as well. Have a great 2021, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.